Welcome, everyone. You are about to embark on a journey through the universe as you indulge in this extraordinary essence of enlightened, empowered, evolved. Let the show begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Greetings, everyone. No, I didn't say this. Just in time. Greetings, everyone. I'm Luke Bryan Smith, and welcome to Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved, where we educate, motivate, and liberate you through enlightening dialogues, empowering music, and evolving content. I know everyone's doing well and everything is unfolding perfectly. I'm excited yet again because my next guest is an international best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and trauma advocate, and a lot more. But without further ado, I introduce to you Amanda Quick. How are you
Thank you
doing
so
today, Amanda?
much.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Absolutely. And thank you for being here. I believe that time is one of our most precious assets. And for you to decide to spend even just a bit of your time in the history of your timeline here on Enlightened Empowered Evolved, I just want to extend my sincerest gratitude to you. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. Yes. So let's just get right into it, Amanda. You know, let's just start here. You're a best selling author, and let's just get into your book and or books. Tell us
Yes.
a little bit about how you became a best-selling author. Just give us a little insight on what led up to it, and just give us a little insight on that.
Yeah. So I have one book, and
Okay.
the first book that I published became a #1 bestseller.
Right.
I published my memoir called The Sex Trafficker's Wife in early 2023.
Wow.
And that book, took off.
Right.
And, I took my story to social media on purpose, to spread awareness, to talk about what
Right.
I've been through, to talk about hard things. And, I had a lot of success in reaching the people I desired. So I'm a, best-selling author in the US and Canada, but, also have sold in many other countries. I was really deeply guided to write that book. I successfully got full custody of my kids in 2020, and it was so, so important to me to share my story to help and inspire other people who didn't make it through in the same way I did, and to give them hope and to know that they're not alone.
Wow. And you know what? I commend you on doing that. And just even just by the title, this is a very it's a powerful title. I'll
Yes,
just put it in those words. So this is actually written through your own experiences.
correct. This is my
Yes.
memoir. It
Wow.
shares my story. My ex-husband, the father of my 3 children, was
Right.
arrested for attempted human trafficking in 2016.
Right.
And at the time, my kids were 1, 4, and 5. I was a stay-at-home mom. My world exploded. And it takes the reader through everything that I went through, everything I felt, all of the reasons that I believed I had to stay for a period of time, and the over
Right.
the waking up process that happened, and the
Absolutely.
fact that it took me seeing my own kids being groomed by their father for me to actually wake up and see the truth.
Mm,
And then the legal custody dispute that I had to fight, because despite a felony sex offense, and just he never went to jail, which is a whole
right.
nother problem thing,
Right.
he retained constitutional right to parent. And so I then had an
Absolutely.
18-month long $75,000 custody fight.
Wow.
And there was a lot behind all of that. And it
Yes.
felt
We
really,
don't.
really,
Yeah. We don't want you to give it away because we want people to pick up that book.
yeah,
So
it
Oh,
was a
go ahead.
lot.
Go ahead, Amanda. Go.
It was a lot. And um, I had to face myself in a way that I had never faced myself before. And my book is not just what I went through in the gory details, but it's how I overcame and what I learned in the
Mm,
process.
and I make that sound because that really resonates with me because when you go through something, that's the important factor. I mean, yeah, it can beat you up in the process, but when it's all said and done, what have you learned and how has it made you stronger? How has it made you wiser? And I commend you because you are sharing these experiences in which you can help someone else with guidance in regard
Mhm.
to if they under similar circumstances or exact
Yeah.
circumstances. I mean, that's amazing. And not to wish that on you, but I've said this once before. No, many a times. You had to go through what you went
I
through to
did.
become who you are. And see that
A
right there,
hundred
just for you
percent.
already knowing that. See,
I
sometimes
already
I'm a
know.
little bit
I have no shame or judgment about it anymore. I have
right.
done so much work. If anything, I have gratitude for my ex-husband. I have gratitude for the experience because I wouldn't be who I am today without it. And I
See,
know
and
that.
I have to commend you again on that because that's where I am in life now. And it's like it's hard. Sometimes I'm a bit skittish in saying that to people because some people aren't ready to hear that. They're not ready to hear
Correct.
that, and that's fine. But I still have to be who I am from my level of consciousness. Is I'm never trying purposely to offend anyone, but just from what I now know, yes,
Yes.
you had to go through that to become who you are and to help other people. And that's what
100%.
you're meant to do. Yes, and that's amazing. So where can we find the sex trafficker's wife by
It's on
Amanda
Amazon.
Quick? Okay,
Yeah, it's on
Amazon.
Amazon.
Okay,
The sextraffickerswife.com has all the links, but it's on Amazon in all forms. I even recorded an audiobook myself, which people, those who don't like to read and like to listen can also hear
oh,
all of the
you
details.
narrated the whole book?
I did.
Oh, wow,
Yes, it's quite a
amazing.
project, but I did.
Amazing, amazing. Yes, because and not to put down anyone, but I just since we're on this subject, I love it when the author narrates the book, and even when other people do, because that means they're inspired to do so. But one thing that I still haven't really gotten used to is the because I listen to books here and there. I'd rather pick it up and read it. That
Mhm.
experience in itself is just amazing, and you can't replicate that. But I haven't gotten used to the AIs
Yeah, I don't.
that they've programmed to read the books, because they you can tell sometimes you have a hard time. It's like, oh, this gentleman or this lady is reading very well, but then you hear certain words
Hmm.
mispronounced and oh, that's a
Hmm.
robot.
That's a robot. Yeah, no, it's my lived experience. It's my story. It's very
Right,
important to me to own that, and
right,
you can feel me as I'm
right.
reading it in a different way.
Right. Yes. There you see you're interviewing yourself. Anyways, yes, so yes, you've already spoke about that your passions about in that regard, but give us a little insight on you being a TEDx speaker. How did that even come about? And yeah, what kind of
Yeah,
speaking? Yeah,
so
go ahead.
I gave my TEDx talk on February 2nd, 2024. So
Right.
it's recent. It
Okay.
still is actually not yet published. I'm waiting for the magical TED gods to decide that it's time to put it on the YouTube.
Right.
They published about half of the event that I attended. So they have their process.
Right.
But you know, what people may or may not know about TEDx is they're all independently organized and they all have
Mm-hmm.
different themes. And I had gotten the message after I published my book that the next step was to become a speaker and to start speaking my story and sharing my story, and that
Right.
I should be looking at stages like TEDx. And
Mm,
I applied here and there and kind of just didn't really know what I was doing. And then this event came across my inbox, and the theme of the event was Phoenix Rising.
mm.
And I went, oh, that's mine. That's the event that I'm going to speak at. And I applied and I interviewed and I got the spot. So that was very
Wow.
exciting. And that was, November of last year. And I had never given an in-person talk I'd been interviewed hundreds of times, but I've never
Right.
given an in-person talk on stage on my own like that. And TED Talks are very scripted. And so the
Wow.
amount of practice and memorization and everything that goes into giving a TEDx talk was not something I had ever done.
Mm,
But, I took it very seriously. I practiced hundreds, maybe thousands of times,
right.
and I know that talk inside and out, and I delivered it. The title of the talk is The Healing Power of Storytelling. And so I use
Amazing.
my story to talk through how I had to change and how I had to shift, how I had to tell the story differently to myself
Mm,
in order to get out of the situation. I had to take accountability for
wow.
myself and the parts that I was playing. And so I
Wow.
share that in my TED talk. And, my goal is to inspire others to be the authors of their story and to acknowledge and be accountable to their story. This is their lives. And
Wow.
we don't have to be the victims. We
You
don't have to
know,
tell ourselves that story anymore.
if you just allow me to interject, because I want to even just further strengthen these amazing points that you've made. Taking, being, getting to a point where you start looking within, even though things seem to be happening with you, to you, and
Yes.
that it's other people doing it. That's an amazing, liberating place to be, because I had to do the same thing at one point. And well, I've done it several times, but at one specific point that really marked my, I would say, the beginning of my transformation. I had to
Hmm.
stop pointing, even though, yeah, though those things were true. This person
Yes.
was doing this, and
Yes.
but I still had to I got to a point where, you call it the universe, you call it God, whatever,
Yep.
spirit told me, start looking within yourself. What part are you playing in um attracting this, or being a part of this, or even, what,
Yes.
look at yourself. And not
Yes.
saying
Exactly.
it was your fault that all that
No.
happened. No, that's not it, about finding fault. It's just about, like you said, taking ownership, and
Yes.
be and strengthening and liberating and learning through everything that is
Mhm.
going on. And that's amazing. And I have to commend you again for for being that person, for developing into that person.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I tell people it's not your fault what happened to you,
Right.
but you are the only one who can get yourself out. And you're the only one who can change.
And I see, you get me excited, because I just had this talk not too long ago with someone, and I said, this is the point that I made, and this is about you, but I have to say this because it matches, it's parallel to exactly what you just said. What I said is, the people that you feel that have traumatized your life, uh, destroyed, battered you, they can't fix you. They
Yep.
can destroy, they can beat you up, but they cannot fix you. You have to. I know it sucks.
Yes.
That's what I said. I know it
It
sucks,
does.
and it doesn't sound right at first glance, but you're the only one, because the only thing someone can really do, if you really think about it, and this is just coming from my perspective. I'm not saying that I know it all, but this is what I've come to feel, to resonate with. The only thing that a person can do, if they even do it, is apologize and change their behavior. Now, some things can be done, and allow me to finish the complete thought. Some things can be done so traumatic that you can say, okay, you know, I forgive you, but you for sure don't want that same entity in your life any longer. You just don't. And the only reason why I say the I forgive you part is for yourself. It's
100%.
not for them, because if you shoulder that, and I'm not saying it's easy. If you shoulder that a resentment, it's just gonna kill you. It's gonna eat away at you.
Yes.
It is. And not saying that you are okay with what was done. No, that doesn't
No.
mean you're okay. It just means I'm releasing this burden off of me. I forgive you. I wish you well. Go over there.
Yes.
And that's
A
how I
hundred
feel.
percent.
And that's
A
how I feel.
hundred percent. And it took me years to forgive my ex-husband.
See,
And
there you
he
go.
desperately wanted my forgiveness while he was still in our lives. And I couldn't
Right,
forgive him until he was gone, until we
right,
were safe, until I could see the lesson and I could
right,
understand and I could release that, that energy from my life
right,
in a
right. Yeah.
different way.
I'm just sharing from my perspective now, but it does not mean that I have not, and still, you know, encounter adversities and struggles when it comes to that. It had to be at the right time, until, like you said,
Correct.
you were able to go through it and see the lessons, and then get to a place where you can breathe a little bit before you can say, okay, now to add to this, everything that I have learned from this, that now I can forgive, so that I can add to it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
So
actually in writing the forward of my book, the
right.
acknowledgments, that I realized that I had actually forgiven him. Like
That
I,
and that's, again, I have to commend you on that too. I know, you can easily say, well, it doesn't matter if you commend me or not. I commend myself, but I just have to say that anyway, because anytime I hear a testimony like that, it just further just strengthens my own knowings. I say
Yeah.
knowings, not beliefs. I know that I'm not quite whole unless I release burdens of what I feel people have done to me. You know,
Yes.
I
Yes.
know I'm
I'm
not
not a
whole.
victim. I've never
Yeah,
been a victim.
I'm not a
I've,
victim, and I know I'm not
yeah.
completely balanced unless I let them go.
Yeah.
Don't allow them to rent any more space in my head anymore. And when you do hold resentment, you are allowing someone to live rent free in your mind. So because you're thinking about them, and no,
Yes.
you gotta let it go. So
Yeah.
that
And
just
you're thinking about them and you're still convincing yourself that you're right and
right.
you're spinning in circles and you very likely will encounter a similar energy if you're not careful.
Wow. See, you're getting deep now. See, yes, you're exactly right. Whatever you're focusing on, see that I knew. See, this is just so amazing. It was kind of like, and I just got to say what it is. It was kind of on a whim that we connected and got you on the show, but it was you, as you can see, it everything happens for a reason. And
100%.
yes, I was meant to hear what you had to say, as well as whoever's listening after this.
Hmm.
You know, I was meant to, and I'm not trying to say that to put on any show, because if something doesn't resonate with me, I won't. I'll just simply keep quiet, or just maybe nod my head. But for me to elaborate on certain things that you're saying, it just connects right with me. It's similar things that I've been through that matches up
Hmm.
with exactly and the lessons and learn, you know. And
Lovely.
one thing this inspires me to say is, no matter what, in the learning process of forgiving, in that other person's eyes or whoever's eyes, they could be looking at you like you're the
100. I am absolutely,
you
absolutely the
see you already know what I
perpetrator
was
in
gonna
my ex.
say.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I am the villain of my ex-husband's
That's
story.
there you go.
100%.
There you go.
I took the kids away from him.
Yeah,
All the things. Yep.
there you go. And see, just knowing that. So yeah, you already know. You even know it before I say it, because we're on the same. As of right now, we're on the same frequency. So yeah,
Yes, exactly.
that's
It's all a matter of perspective.
that's
All
right.
truths are valid for each person's experience. It's a matter of what you're choosing to experience.
Thank you. And just to add to that, that's why I simply allow and observe people to think and feel
Mhm.
the way they want to, with no expectation coming from me. You know, oh, I think this. Okay. Thank you.
Yep,
Because,
exactly.
and not to really get into it, but that's what I think the definition of arguing is. That's my definition. Is trying to
Mm.
convince someone what you think or that you're
Hmm.
right. And I don't need to convince anyone. I can
Nope,
share my perspectives and leave it at that. I don't,
100%.
you're thinking wrong. Nope. I'm not going to tell anybody they're wrong. You know, that's it. Yes. So yes, let's move forward. So let's talk about this. You have a nonprofit, the
Hmm.
Golden Haven Foundation. Give us a little bit of insight on how that materialized, came into fruition, and what's it all about.
Yeah. So after I got full custody of my kids, it
Right.
was in 2020, 2 weeks before the pandemic hit, literally, I succeeded at getting full custody. And so
Right.
my kids were thankfully never quarantined. It was all over, all the things.
Right.
It hit me so hard
Mm,
that I won my case in part due to the social, economic, and racial privilege that I hold.
mm,
And that if I was an underprivileged colored Black woman,
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't stand a damn chance.
Nope.
My
I get you.
divorce cost me over $75,000. The amount of privilege that I had to even be able to have that fight in court is immense. And
You're
I
right.
recognize that. And it hit me that the vast majority of people share custody with their abusers, and there's children's abusers. The therapists that I was seeing for PTSD were talking to me about how the the safe parent was burdened by taking off work and facilitating contact with their child's abuser because they
Right.
happened to be a parent.
Right.
And it was just, the system is so freaking broken.
It is.
And
It is. Oh, see, that's a whole nother show, but the system is broken.
it is.
And I can tell you this, I was on the other end, and you and I are going to know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to really get too deep into it, but I was on the other side of the spectrum in the court thing, and
Mhm.
it didn't I didn't get what was and I'm not a victim, but
Yeah.
things that were obviously done on that other side, if I would have done that or
Right.
just it was solid proof, I would have been toast. But
Yeah.
because they were of the privileged
Correct.
part, they got off really easy. So it almost like, okay, well, we'll just do this. And it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's like, do you see all this? We don't want to, So
And
I get what you're
so,
saying. I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
and so it was, I did not win my case because of money, but money
Right,
allowed me to have the fight. I had to
right,
change myself. I had to shift within myself. And I had a whole lot of work in that process to get there. But
right.
without the social, economic, and racial privilege that I held, I wouldn't have
Mm,
even been able to start.
and
And so it hit me that until the system is totally taken apart and put back together again,
mm,
until it becomes a trauma-informed system in which safety is no longer a privilege, because
mm.
truly that is currently what it's set up to be today.
Oh, right,
And
right,
the fact that every single case must be educated at the victim's expense about trauma and why people
right,
stay and all of the things,
right.
until all of that changes,
Mm,
that people need help, and people need help with the mental and emotional support that they need to actually be in a position to have these fights in court. They need help with the funding to hire people. They need help putting these dots together and
right.
understanding the legal system, because it's a black box to a lot of people and they don't understand how it all works. And
Yes.
I I had the privilege and ability to do so. I had the
Mhm,
funding to hire the
mhm.
people I needed, but I also had to learn that I was the one driving, not all of the other people, and I
Right.
had to decide what the outcome is. And I wanted to put all of this together. And so the nonprofit is, we're still launching, we're getting off the ground, we're fundraising, but the goal of the nonprofit is to support those who are fighting for custody from their abusers and the children's
Mm,
abusers,
mhm.
and to support them with education, to support them with understanding the mindset and the emotional pieces, and that
Right.
actually give them tools while they're going through. Because I was diagnosed with PTSD in a high conflict divorce and still had to face myself and still had to take
Wow.
accountability in those moments in
Wow.
order to get out. And it's a lot to hold. And if you're barely surviving, how do you all do all of that also? And so, there's so many nonprofits out there who help with basic housing or women's shelters or food insecurities. There's a lot of other support. It's not
Right.
perfect, but there's a lot
Yes.
of
Right.
organizations out there. There is
Right.
nobody, to my knowledge, that is supporting this cause
Mm,
at the privilege to be safe from your abuser and your child's abuser.
right. That is just absolutely just powerful. And I have to say this too, and not to take away from what you just said, anything that you just said, but you just are such an aware person, and it had to come from all this you went through. But I can just as I listen to you, you're just aware of things, and that's just amazing to me. Just being aware, it's like you're open and aware. I'm not saying you know everything, but you're you're
Well, I
you're
don't know
you're an aware
everything.
person. You're aware of how things work, and that is true in regard to the court system. Because even in my
Yes.
specific circumstance, I didn't know about taking charge. I was just trying to be humble and let my
Yep.
counsel do everything. And even though I wasn't comfortable with it, like, wait a minute, I just showed you this, and
Yep.
you're discarding it
Yeah.
because, and I know why. So, but like I said, it unfolded the way it was supposed to, and everything's working out, for the best. I know it now. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is a broken system that, and I know it's the only system we have right now. So I'm not gonna um, use this time to just straight badger the system, but it is a shame to me, in my perspective, that the outcome of something for your life depends on how much money you have, or
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
what color you are, or something like that. So that's yeah, it needs some work there.
I mean, to put it into perspective, my upper middle class white ex-husband got
Right,
4 years of probation for
right,
showing up with dollars in his on his possession to pay for two children.
right. And
And
that's
he
it.
got 4 years of probation. And
That's
there
it.
are black men who
Oh yeah.
had possession of marijuana, which is legal in half the states, who are
Yeah,
still in
right.
jail.
Oh yeah, we know that. See, like I said, that's a whole nother show. But I'm not one of those I would say um it can be frustrating, but am I part of the problem or the solution? So all I can
Yeah.
do is just make it aware, aware and educate myself on how things are, and adjust my attitude toward in certain situations, and just be sure that to the much of my uh, uh, power that I can stay out of certain situations. So knowing how
Exactly.
things are, and that's it. I'm not going to sit here and just walk around frowning. I'm going to live a life of thriving, and just connect with
Exactly.
amazing people such as yourself, and just have these talks, and educate people, and know that there's people out there that do understand. And it takes us all to be aware to make changes. So I'm
Yeah.
just thankful that you are just adamant about something, because you can't do everything, and doing something about it, and that's amazing.
Right.
And I just commend you again. you know
Thank you.
yeah, i
Thank
might
you.
i might
It
i
never
might
feels like
name this
enough.
yeah, I might name this show Commending Amanda. Because you just
Uh,
did say so many things that I just commend you on doing, and I'm just really serious about it. I take this show very serious, and when I'm speaking, I'm not speaking trying to put on a show. I'm really trying to block out the fact that we're recording, and really be present with who I'm talking with, who I'm engaging with. And I try that the hard. Sometimes it's a little hard, because you still, I'm on a podcast, but I try to block that out, to the best I can, and really have an authentic conversation. And my purpose isn't to try to get anybody to buy into me or anything that I'm saying, just to make people aware of things. And I'm learning at the same time. I say that all the time. This is therapy for me. This is educational for me. Yeah, this is yeah, this is great, and I love it.
that's
So,
awesome.
yeah, so before we conclude, can you audibly give us a couple of ways that people can find, your website? Give us a
Yep.
couple of your links, and I'll
Yeah.
make sure
So,
I incorporate them before you say it. Excuse me for cutting you off. They will be in the description of this segment, but while you're here,
of
yeah.
course. Of course, if you want to work with me, you want me to speak in an event of some sort, you can reach me at amandaquickhealing.com. My book again is The Sex Trafficker's Wife,
Mm,
thesextraffickerswife.com will give you those links. You can find me on pretty much all social media platforms at Amanda Quick Healing or The Sex Trafficker's Wife.
wow. And your website too, Amanda Quick. Okay, the sex traffickerswife.com.
That's the book. Yep.
Oh, that's the book. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we got that all out there
Yep.
audibly. Yeah, because some people, they're just listening on like
Of course.
Pandora or Spotify, and I like to have my guest, say their sites, and everything. So that's amazing. Before we conclude, are there any, last things you would like to share? Ideas, inspirations, just anything you got coming up? Anything that you would just like to say?
Yeah, I the biggest thing that I wish to share with the world, and something that I really wish I could sprinkle pixie dust on every single human on this planet, is that everybody be empowered to trust themselves and trust their own inner guidance. And the biggest lesson that I learned of everything that I went through was that I had to trust myself first. I had to take
Mm.
care of myself first, and I had to trust my own inner knowing and stop listening to everybody else's version of the story, everybody else's ideas of who I was, and remember who I was, because I was the one who was able to get me out, but I had to remember who I was first.
Oh, thank you. I won't even try to add anything to that. So thank you very much again. My sincerest gratitude to you, Amanda
Absolutely.
Quick, and thank you everyone who's here watching and or listening. Thank you very much. Be sure to go into the description of this segment and check out Amanda Quick's links, and click on them, and just browse and pick up her book. And also
All right.
check out the Enlighten Empowered Evolve website as well at 333empower.com. Be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button on whatever platform you are viewing and or listening to this on, and share it. Spread this amazing message around. Help get these amazing segments out there, and help us empower people and make people aware, and just share, uplift the vibration of humanity, of the planet. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Everyone here, see you soon. Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved. Love and appreciation.